So moving on to the topic of Kawhi watch.
Man,
It's been really silent on the Kawhi front recently.
I haven't heard anything, and that's probably because nobody wants to trade with the Spurs. The Lakers took everyone off the table. Not the Lakers. The Celtics took everyone off the table. They won't trade even Jaylen Brown for him. The Spurs.
Even Jalen. I mean, yeah, I understand why.
Well, yeah, Jaylen Brown's the worst of the players that they were offering. Out of Jason Tatum, Gordon Hayward, and Kyrie.
Well, yeah,
he's the worst.
I thought they also had a sign and trade for Marcus Smart in the works too.
Yeah, but they were.
I would say Jalen Brown better than
Kawhi Leonard. Yeah, Kawhi Leonard wouldn't. They wouldn't trade Kawhi for Marcus Smart.
No,
they need
him
one
and
of
other
those
players,
other
right.
players in order to
right.
make the trade.
But I wouldn't say Jalen Brown's worse than Marcus Smart.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that one of the A piece in the trade was going to be Gordon Hayward, Kyrie, Jason Tatum, or Jaylen Brown. And then they'd have a B piece, whether that's a couple picks, a Marcus Smart, a Terry Rozier, who are on the level below those players. And then the Sixers took off Markelle, so no team wants to trade with them. No team wants to risk it. So
it's honestly interesting, this scenario, because he is a top 5 player when he's in the league.
yeah.
But because players never have this much leverage, and he's using it like LeBron would use the leverage if he wanted to trade as well. It's tough too, because he also doesn't want to play for the Lakers. So it's like he's like forcing the Spurs' hand.
It's like,
and if he goes to my Clippers, represent LAC, baby. That's how do people do that shit? They would be like that.
the fuck you trying to do that? LA?
It's LAC.
Oh, LA. Yeah. No.
No.
You're missing the put your hand. No. You gotta put it. Do what you were doing.
Okay.
You lost it, huh?
Yeah, I did. Well, no, it was like this.
Yeah, and then the C, but you gotta put your hand up to make the L. But like you have to put it straight, so it's like that. But that's really weird. So I guess it's like.
LAC, baby.
Yeah, this is their franchise.
LAC dysfunctional, baby.
In a nutshell, that is the Los Angeles Clippers.
So if they have leverage, then every team has leverage on the Spurs, including a player in Kawhi Leonard. I don't see why the Clippers would trade Tobias Harris for him if they know that he doesn't want to play for the Lakers and he wants to play in LA. And so I don't know who the Spurs could get for him.
Yeah,
it's a shame because we know superstars usually get traded for quarters on the dollar.
Mm-hmm.
But he might get traded for dimes on the dollar. Like
it's changing the whole league.
It is
completely. I don't really like it, to be real. I like player empowerment. I think the players should. They're the commodity.
Right.
Take off the negative connotation of that, 'cause that's not how I mean it. But like they are the commodity, so they're the entertainment. They're what makes it go round. So I like them having the power and everything, but I don't like them forcing the hands of these organizations, because that takes away from the fans. And
it takes away from the fans, but that's also on the organizations, because in the NBA it's a dog-eat-dog world. Franchises all the time make just surprise trades and releases and all these things. For instance, the Isaiah Thomas trade last year, he was the heart and soul of that franchise. They traded him away, and if he would have left on his own, everyone would have been like, "Look, you came here and made yourself, and then you think you're better than us, you're gonna leave." Yeah. But because he was traded, he was like, "Oh, well, it was for Kyrie." Like it was for Kyrie, but Kyrie got hurt too. Like, it's because of the double standard. I can't say I dislike players being able to force the hand, because it gives them equality. I will agree that it does suck for fans.
But it doesn't,
because for the Spurs fans,
it makes the players have all the power. It's not equality.
No, because in the middle of the season they could still get traded. Like,
yeah, I know, but not to certain teams, because they can just be like, if they get cut, they still make their money unless someone picks them up in the first week. So it doesn't matter if they get cut. It's not like the NFL. But if they say this, then they can't get traded. Kawhi hasn't been traded after saying, "I will only play for this team."
Right.
So it doesn't make it equal. It takes all the power away from the organization, and just it's like they can quit their contract and quit working a year ahead, maybe even 2.
Well, he would still have to work if he gets traded. If he could, now I would have a problem with it if he doesn't get traded by the beginning of the season. Because I have heard that they want to keep him until training camp so other teams can see that he is still the same player. But if the regular season rolls around, not preseason, but the regular season rolls around, and he's still healthy and not playing, then it's a problem. Yeah. Then I think the NBA should institute a clause where you can not pay this player if he's not playing and he's healthy.
Yeah.
Because that's just not right. What he's doing to that franchise, to the fans, to the organization. While yes, I do feel he feels that their relationship isn't broken and can't be mended, doesn't mean he can just take them of their money and the fans of their money as well.
Exactly.
Because one of the reasons our season tickets are so expensive is because he's on the team. Mm-hmm. So if he's not playing but is still on the team, that's not right to the fans.
Bullshit.
So I do agree that in certain, I think there just needs to be some middle ground, some type of compromise. I hope it doesn't lead to a lockout because that would just be really unfortunate. Nobody wants that. But I do like. Oh, damn it. I think my shit was full.
Yeah, mine's still going.
Yeah, it's full.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll just finish, and then that's the last topic, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So like I said, I do like that it gives the players a little bit of say in what they can do. But I think that's what the offseason is for.
Yeah.
Like he's doing it in free agency, or not free agency. He's not free agent, but in the offseason. But this was brewing since the whole season, and he wasn't playing because of it.
Yeah, I think if you sign the contract, you have to stay true to the contract, and you can't just in the middle of the year quit on your contract and your team, because it ruined their season.
Yeah,
you can't just come back this year and just go, all right, guys, let's go ball.
That's why he's not trying to come back.
Fuck you, Kawhi. Like, shut up. So it takes away from a year of the contract. If you want to do it behind closed doors, that's a little different. Tell the management, like, hey, like, I'm probably going to leave. I'd love it if you traded me to this team. I get it doesn't have the same power and it doesn't make them have to do that because no other team does that, knows that you want to go there. So, but I just think you should honor your contract. He signed it. Mm-hmm. Like, I get a lot of people hate their bosses. Mm-hmm. So it sucks, but a lot of people every day go to work hating their job and hating their bosses.
Now,
so just because you're an NBA player doesn't make you any different or
right.
any more special. You're still a normal person. You just can play basketball really well. Yeah.
Here's my thing. So it's his life, and who are we to say he should have no right in choosing where he gets to live, where he gets to work? I don't think he should have had to go back behind closed doors to tell the organization. But here's what I think should be instituted. I think the NBA should institute a rule in trade negotiations that if a player is traded to a team and he's on the last year of his team, the team can opt to get an extra team option at a negotiated price between them and the player. So that way you don't have that chance of 1-year rentals or half a season rental. Because it's just not, because teams won't give up anything because they're like, we might get him for 1 year. But if you know you can get him for this year and you can get a team option, so if you don't want him, if it just doesn't work out, you can let him go anyway, or you can get him for 1 extra year. It's not like his whole career is going to stay there, but for 1 extra year. So it gives him a chance to really get into the organization, and it really gives everybody a chance to see how he is, build relationships. Maybe the 2 years that you'd be there, or if you get traded halfway through the year and a half that you'd be there, is enough to warrant an extension. And then teams will be willing to trade more because, I'm not having him for 1 year, I get him for 2. I'm sure the Celtics and the 76ers
only on the 1 year
now.
It's not if you sign someone for 2 years.
Right. Only for the 1 year. If you get traded for 2 years and you don't get a third year because of that. But if you have 1 year or less in your contract, then you should. I think that should be instituted because then the Celtics or the Sixers might actually trade for him.
Yeah,
because
they get 2 years.
Because our window is now. Well, not their window, but maybe a team that's really. That would
I understand.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that'd be great.
I like that idea a lot. But the only problem I had with what you said was at the beginning. You said, "Who are we to tell them how this man lives his life?"
Right.
I'm not. He signed the contract. That's his name on the contract. He decided that for the next 5 years that I'm working for this person. So if he wants to leave in the off season after he has honored his contract and fulfilled his job that he's getting paid to do, then do it. I love I love when players move around the league. I think it's so exciting every year when players move to different teams and everything. I think it creates so much more for basketball. It's just so exciting to see it. I get so hyped in the offseason to see this next team. I can't wait for the NBA season. So it gets me, it's great for the NBA. It gets all the fans excited. But just because a lot of people, it's like they see basketball players as different than a normal job. It's still a job. If for other people, if you sign a contract, even midway, if you're like, fuck, this job sucks, you still have to do your job. You can't just be like, oh, so like, I want to go do this job instead. I'm not going to finish it. That you're breaking the contract.
You could do that. I mean, some organizations might take you to court for breaking a contract, but you can do that. Or you just quit. You just outright quit. He just can't outright quit because he gets no money if he outright quits. If he quits, he doesn't get paid.
It's still his job to
here's
do
my thing. My suggestion for what the league should do has nothing to do with this example I'm about to bring up. So those are two completely separate things. But here's my thing. So if I'm going to equate what you just said to real life. So divorce rates in the 50s were quite low. And that's because women weren't allowed to they weren't allowed to do that without proof of like abuse or whatever it may be. But men could at any point. So when you get married, you literally sit here and say, till death do us part. Like, we are going to be together. And yet people still get divorced. You don't sign a contract. You sign a love contract, essentially. Like, I'm going to be here for you. You're going to be here for me. We're going to hold each other down forever. Like, there's no year stipulation. There's no 5-year plan. It's forever. And people still get divorced. Now, divorce rates are rising now because women have more rights and they can institute them. And it's actually a better thing because people aren't trapped into these relationships they don't want to be in. It's the same thing with the NBA. Yes, you signed that contract at the time because you love the organization. They traded for him. They developed him. And then along the way, something happens. And you're like, okay, maybe this organization was not what I thought it was, and I don't want to be here anymore. You shouldn't be bound to do that. But I just hate what's happening, the fact that no other team can trade for him. But I don't think he should be bound to stay there.
I think
in this scenario, women
your analogy was awful and just not.
In
I
what way?
understand how you can somewhat equate it to it, but comparing a job to a marriage, it's a lot different than that because in a marriage you're not getting paid to do this. You're in it for your pure enjoyment and only enjoyment. So if you're not getting enjoyment out of it, why begin it? If you're not getting enjoyment out of your job, they're still paying you, and so it's if he wants to quit basketball, that would be the equivalent to getting a divorce.
No, that'd be the equivalent to just not ever seeing anybody ever again. If he wants to go to a different team, that's just like a woman being like, okay, because just like players have now more rights, women have more rights, and
yeah, but you're not getting paid to be in a marriage. The only thing you get out of a marriage is enjoyment,
right? And that's and okay.
So that's
but he's not. But it's not like he's. But it's not like he's. When he gets traded, it's not like he's like, oh, all of a sudden I want more money. Like
I know, but if you're not getting the enjoyment from the marriage,
he's not getting the enjoyment from the relationship with the Spurs. Go to a different organization. That's what
he's still getting $20 million a year.
But he's getting that anywhere he goes. He's getting that anywhere he goes.
That's still, but
so
he's still signed on for that. That is his job to do. They are still paying him.
Any other team he goes to is gonna have to pay him that exact same wage and then extend him for even more. So it's not about the money. It's about, especially because he knows he's getting that money. Even if he tore his fucking arm off, he's getting that money.
Why he wants
it's
to
about
leave.
where he wants to play.
It's not about the money, and I understand. But you signed on to this contract. You made the decision. Why you made it?
And you can change your mind.
Yeah,
but humans have free will. That's what makes us human. The fact that he can choose not to play there.
I think that's.
So you're saying players shouldn't even be humans? They should be total commodities. They should be total objects, pieces. Like they shouldn't even be people anymore. We should take out their hearts and just make them robots.
No, ain't nobody said that.
So then, how come they have no right to choose where they get to live?
They do.
Where they get to love.
They have a full right.
People
when they are off their contract. Once their contract is fulfilled on both ends, and they get their money, and then they play their 5 years or whatever. You can go wherever the fuck you want and sign for however long you want. And it doesn't matter.
So why,
you can go play overseas. You can play here. You can play in Canada. You can play in Mexico. Fuck it. You can do whatever you want.
So once I get married, I'm just married forever. I can't leave. Even if life is
if they stop fulfilling their end of the agreement, which is making you happy, and
the Spurs don't make him happy,
but they pay him, and that was their
that
agreement.
Is not the only
agreement. The agreement wasn't okay. While you're here, we'll make you happy and we'll fucking love you like your wife.
That's what they do. That's the Spurs, though. That's what they do.
So what? But then the contract, and the agreement is we'll give you so and so amount of money and you play basketball for us. That's what the contract is. It's not we're gonna make you happy and we're gonna be your best friends. No, it is a job. He gets paid to do his job.
I understand he gets paid to do his job. He can get paid anywhere to do his job. He could quit right now.
So then he shouldn't have signed with the Spurs. That sucks. You still signed and made the decision you signed the contract that you will do this job for this many years and get this amount of money.
I think the only reason why you say that is because you've never been in a position where you actually had to choose. Where you're like, oh, I did make this commitment, but this is not me. This is not something I can do. When he signed on to that contract, everything was different. The Tim Duncan was there, Tony Parker was there, Monty Jones was there. They didn't ask him to be a leader, and he is not a leader person. He's a great basketball player. He can be a leader on the court, but his contract he was supposed to play. Yeah, he's supposed to play basketball, but he was supposed to play a role. They're now changing his role, and they're not changing, and he does not feel comfortable in that role that they're changing him to. And that's perfectly fair to not want to play for a team that's not putting him in the best position for him to succeed. You are trying to make him a commodity, and he is a person.
I know he's a person. He doesn't have to do that role. He just has to play basketball. He doesn't have to lead in the locker room.
Yeah, he does.
No, he just has to play basketball.
Clearly, that's what they want from him because he's their best player.
That's what they want from him, but that's not what he signed on in the contract. He just signed he's going to play
and that's
basketball.
What they're trying to.
So as long as he goes out on the court and you can see him give it his all, then he's doing his end of the agreement.
But that's not what they're trying to do because he tried to play this season, and how did it go? It didn't go well.
He said he had an injury from getting a knee in the fucking thigh.
Because the organization is asking of him different than what they signed of him. Okay, so when the organization broke their end of the agreement, he can now say, I don't want to play for you anymore. This is not what I signed up for. This is not what I
When they signed him for $18 million a year, however many years ago, that was not just to be a role player.
I didn't say he was a role player, but he wasn't meant to be the leader. Tim Duncan was the leader at that time. He was meant to be a superstar player.
Tim Duncan was in his 18th year.
Yeah, but he was still a leader.
It was very obvious that while your contract goes, Tim Duncan is most likely gonna retire.
Most likely, but it didn't say that he was gonna have to be the de facto leader. Then they could have brought it.
He doesn't.
Tony Parker should have been the leader. Tony Parker was a terrible leader.
You have to do it.
Tony Parker was a terrible leader, and then Pop is there now, and he knew Pop was gonna stay for the rest of his contract, and Pop should have been the leader. They're asking him to fulfill something that is not in his contract. So he does not want to do it.
So he doesn't have to.
So he's leaving. Exactly. He doesn't have to. He's leaving.
But what he does have to do
is
play basketball.
That team,
he has to play basketball. He doesn't have to lead. He doesn't have to call up the homies. Hey guys, come watch film with me. All he has to do, show up to practice hard, show up to the games, play hard.
If he stays on that team, what they're asking of him is not what he signed the contract for.
So he does. Are you not hearing me?
I'm hearing what you're saying. You can say he doesn't have to do it, but that team falls apart otherwise.
So
they have no
his problem.
Yes, that is his problem. That's his legacy on the line.
He doesn't want to play there anyway.
It's because of that. It's his legacy on the line.
Then it's already a legacy that he doesn't want to be a leader. So either way,
you don't need to be a leader to have a legacy.
Exactly.
You gotta win, and he wants to win.
So if he plays well, he can still win.
Now the Spurs.
Yeah, the Spurs just won. They won what 48 games without him.
And got swept right there too.
So if he was there, like last year, they were challenging the Warriors, and then he got hurt. So they can win with him.
So they can no. They cannot win with Kawhi Leonard.
Nobody can. So what do you want?
So if he goes to a better team that makes an option that can, nobody can how the current NBA landscape is. He is a big enough X factor that he goes to a certain team.
I think he should leave. No one is arguing that he should not leave. No one is saying...
You are saying he should fill his contract
I'm saying he has to fulfill his contract because he made the agreement.
Leave.
See, I know you're flaky, so you're not used to...
What?
You're not used to
You're saying he should leave.
But when you make a commitment, I'm saying he should leave after his contract is up.
You just said he should... Okay.
Exactly.
You just said nobody's saying he shouldn't leave. And now
I said from the beginning he should leave after he finishes 5 years. I've always said he should leave. From the beginning of this argument, I said I love player empowerment. I love them moving around. I think it's great for them, So I clearly think it's good for people to get out of the situation if they don't like it. I think they have to fulfill the agreement they made before they do that.
I don't, because teams don't do it either. Teams sign you for a full 5 years, trade you 2 years later. If teams don't have to do it, players should not be held to that exact same standard.
You still get the money that is agreed that you play basketball for.
What does that have to do with anything?
That is the agreement.
Money has never been the focal point of these decisions.
You play basketball for money. That is the agreement.
Can trade you before the end of your contract, you should be able to leave before the end of your contract. No questions asked. There should be no double standard just because you work in a front office and you actually bring seats into bring people into the seats. There should be no difference.
I mean,
Because on your argument, they signed him, so they should keep him. Well, they would keep him because they're the Spurs. But the Celtics also signed Isaiah Thomas. And guess what? They traded him. He wanted to stay.
He still got his money for the year.
Kawhi will still get his money if he gets traded too. And the Spurs, they save money if they trade him to a team like the Suns.
The agreement is
the cap space.
You play.
It is nothing about
the
money.
agreement is you play for the team that you're on for this amount of money that you agreed to.
I get that. And if teams don't have to play by those rules, players shouldn't have to either.
Well, the teams still are paying the money. Either way, they're getting the money if they play basketball.
Your money argument literally makes no sense.
It is a job. Basketball is a job. That is
I
what
get
the
that.
whole argument is.
Nobody's saying they shouldn't do the job. I'm saying he should play if he's on the team. But he has a right to leave the team before he finishes that contract. Because teams do it, players do it, he can do it.
I don't think so. I think that if he agreed to play for this, he knows the rules of the NBA. Everyone knows the rules of the NBA when you go into playing the sport. It's not this surprise that you can be traded. It's part of the business.
And it's not a rule that
not everything
is stay through the end of your contract.
Well, that is the whole, what a contract is. Basically, is you're agreeing to do this for this amount of time, for this amount of money.
Until you get traded or cut. Or
if you get traded or cut, you still make the money.
If you get traded, you make the money from a different organization. So the contract you sign with that organization is no longer void.
You're still making the money.
Exactly. So Kawhi is still making the money wherever he goes. It doesn't matter. I'm telling you it's not about the money. Okay? You are trying to make it all about the money, and it is not about the money. It is about the relationship with the organization. If your relationship with the organization is damaged, get out.
Yeah, I think he should leave once he fulfills his
contract.
contract.
Just like if Gilbert Arenas, he still got paid, but he got cut because his relationship with the organization was damaged.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't fulfill the end of their contract. They kept paying him, but he didn't fulfill the end of his contract. He didn't play for them, but they kept paying him.
They made the decision to cut him, so he fulfilled it as much as he was allowed to do by the organization. But they cut
Kawhi Leonard fulfilled as much as he was allowed to do 4 years until he figured it was not in his best interest, and he left.
He's still allowed to do it because they're still expecting him to suit up next season and play for the Spurs.
And I'm saying if he's on the team, he should play. I'm saying if he's on the team, he should play. Because they don't have to trade him, I'm not saying he shouldn't play. But I'm saying if they trade him, it is not his fault. Like, he is not at fault. He has every single right to want to leave. I'm not saying because he asked for a trade, should automatically be granted it. But I'm saying he has a right to say he doesn't want to play there anymore.
I don't think so. I think it ruins it for the fans.
That's literally the First Amendment.
It ruins it for the fans, and it ruins it for, the fans mostly. Because then the fans, they go from having this star to getting, literally like you said, dimes on the dollar. And their franchise are ruined. And
the franchise should have took better care of him then. They knew what they had in him. They had him for 6 years already, and they messed up. You cannot blame players for organizations' mishap. That's the double standard that is in this league. That is just
how do we know
so
it's exactly the organization's fault with Kawhi?
Every single
by asking them
time, you see so many examples of the dichotomy of if a player gets traded or if he leaves. It's praised and what? You're terrible. You're a demon. Like, why would you leave this organization? We were counting on you. It's literally like they get traded. They could still have been counting on they get traded because they broke their pinky, couldn't play in the playoffs, and they're like, okay, well, we're just gonna get another piece so we can be ready for this year's playoff. Like, it's literally like there's no gray area. It's a business, and Kawhi is exemplifying that. That is a business, and he's leading.
It's not good for the fans. I don't think so. I think it's not good for the NBA. It sucks. It sucks.
I think it's I don't know if it's not good for the fans. I think it does suck for
not good for the fans
because it's not good for the Spurs fans, but it's good for the fans of where the team he goes to. I can say it's not quite good for the league because then you will have teams like the Warriors happen when you have players with all this power. But that's everybody blames the Warriors for that. Blame other GMs. Like, this is not the Warriors' fault. The league looks like this. Yes, I hate the fact that the Warriors have this team, but this is the other. Even Danny Ainge, who is so often praised, messed up. He should have got Boogie. Other GMs, they should have got Kevin Durant. Like when he was a free agent. The Celtics should have got Kevin Durant. Danny Ainge messed up twice that the Warriors took advantage on.
He messed up with KD. He met with KD and he had a good plan. He showed the whole plan for being the Warriors and everything. And then KD just chose the Warriors because he liked Steph and fucking.
Okay, whatever. You can't blame. You can't. It's because it had nothing to do with what I was gonna say. You cannot blame a player for invoking their free will. You cannot blame a player for like you just like you can't blame LeBron for being the best player in the world. You can hate on him all you want, but you can't be like, oh, like he's terrible for it. Like he's just the best player. You can hate him all you want, but at the end of the day, he's going to be the best player. Kawhi Leonard, at the end of the day, is a top 5 player in the league. You can hate him all you want for the fact that he wants to leave, but the fact that he wants to leave and is a top 5 player, he knows he can leave, and he's taking advantage of that. If you were in his position, you played for the the Spurs, and all of a sudden, every single thing they did you hated. It used to be every single thing they did, you saw rose-colored lenses, and all of a sudden, every single thing they do, you hate it. You'd want to leave too. And then people are sitting here ridiculing you because you're like, but this is my life decision that you know nothing about. You would be like, okay, well, you know what? I don't know why all these fans are hating on me, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Like, because it's your right to do. Like, we have no right to say that he cannot do this.
Yeah, he signed the contract. That's the only thing. He didn't have to sign it. He could have signed it for 3 years, he could have signed it for 2 years, he could have signed it 1 year.
You're so caught up on the contract.
Because he made the agreement.
That's the thing about a contract, because it's two-way.
Exactly.
It works both ways.
And are they saying they're not going to pay him?
I'm not saying they aren't. And he's not saying he's not going to play. He just says he wants to play elsewhere. He never said he's not going to play. Once he says that, then I will say it's messed up. But he has not ever said he's not going to play. He just says he wants to play elsewhere.
Yeah, but it just ruins the whole season. It's like they're not going to win.
Because the chemistry's bad, but that's not. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's partly his fault.
He's not going to play. He did play all last year
because he was hurt. Now he has no excuse. So this year, if he comes back and says he's hurt again, then you know
medically cleared to play.
Okay, you say that, but his other doctors didn't say that. Did you do it? Did you do a screening on him? Did you check him out?
I know that the Spurs
Did you examine him?
I don't know exactly what the other doctors said.
Did you examine him? Did you say for a fact that he was healthy?
Can you say for a fact that he's not?
I can say that he wasn't on the court. That's all I can say for a fact. I can't say he was healthy or that he wasn't. I can say he wasn't on the court. Yeah. And I can say he went to other doctors besides the Spurs, and the Spurs, if they cleared him, probably believed he was healthy. But if he didn't play, there's something in the works, whether it was health or he just didn't want to play for the organization. You will see it this season. If he doesn't play this season, then you know it was not health. It was he just didn't want to play for them. And if that's the case, I will be right there with you. He had a contract to fulfill and he didn't fulfill it. But as of right now, he is fulfilling his contract. If all he was last year was hurt. Because he's not doing anything that breaks the contract. He's just saying, I don't want to play here. You can say, I don't want to play here. Because they have no, he doesn't have a no trade clause, or I mean, it's not like they, well, that wouldn't even matter. But he can say he doesn't want to play there as long as he does play there. You can have any opinion you want. Jimmy Butler doesn't want to play for the Timberwolves. He's still going to play for them. Like, you can choose to not want to play for them as long as you still do your job. But if he gets traded because of it, great.
See, that's not the issue. Is him saying I will only play for the Lakers.
But you haven't seen it in action. Talk is talk, but until you see that walk,
what are you talking about?
He can say all he wants. He wants to play for the Lakers.
Yeah, but that just shuts down every other team from making any trade.
Oh, so then he might lock himself into playing for the Spurs. And if he doesn't play for the Spurs, I'll be right there with you because he has a contract to fulfill. But if he does play for the Spurs, knowing after that he's leaving to the Lakers, okay. It's the same thing Paul George did. He said, I want to play for the Lakers. I only will play for the Lakers. Still ended up signing with the Thunder. Still ended up getting traded to the Thunder. Players can say where they want to play all they want. As long as they do their job. He said he was only playing for the Lakers and still play for the Thunder, Paul George.
No,
as long as they do their job. Okay, he would like to play with the Lakers.
He said he would only want to play in LA.
So you will have to just wait and see. If he doesn't play for the Spurs, then you know. Then he should be banished from the league, honestly, because he's not fulfilling his contract. That's what I will say. But as of right now, well, he's fulfilling his contract, just stating he doesn't want to play there. But as long as he does it, I can't say he deserves any criticism because it's his opinion to not want to not like the league. The franchise.
Yeah, I don't think there's any problem with him saying I don't like playing for the Spurs. I think the problem is locking it in a year early that you're only going to play for this team.
I don't think it's a problem at all because then you can get traded early and establish a relationship, and then he gets access to more money because then the Lakers have his bird years, and they can sign him more money.
Spurs, they lose their.
They should have treated him better then.
How did they treat him poorly? He got hurt.
Okay, he's supposed to be their franchise player, right? Yeah. And they won't even trust him enough to talk to him they have to talk to the media. Okay, but it's not like he's never said a word out of his mouth. Like they've been exposing him on everything. Like there's not been any trust. If I was him and I was hurt and I felt like all that I've given for this franchise, I've won you guys championships. I've brought in thousands of fans to the arena, and you guys still don't trust me, and you're out here telling people I'm hurt when I'm healthy when I feel that I'm hurt. I would not want to play for them either. Like, if you're looking at it from Kawhi's perspective, and everything he is saying is true, I'm not saying it is, but if it is true, I understand why he doesn't want to play for the Spurs, and it is within reason to not want to.
The Spurs' perspective and everything they saying is true. Imagine that. Your best player has a fucking fibers and won't play.
That's the problem. Everybody looks at it from a franchise's perspective, and you don't ever look at it from a player's perspective. Just because these players get millions to play,
Tony Parker's perspective, this player, your teammate, you had the same injury and you were healthy way quicker, and now your teammate, the person you need to win the championship, won't come play.
That is one reason. That's probably another reason why the Spurs pissed him off. Tony Parker should have been reprimanded for that. Team business stays inside the team. You don't sit here and go bash your teammates into the media.
You can bash them.
Talking about my energy's 10 times worse. Like, you don't do that to your franchise player, to the media. You don't do that, especially get no reprimands. No, the Spurs did not handle that situation well, and even if he was healthy, I think both sides could have held it.
I don't think it's on either person's fault. That's Kawhi's.
I think you're right. Both sides could have handled it better, but at the end of the day, because neither of them did, I'm looking at it from Kawhi's point of view. Because at the end of the day, he's a person, and organizations are ruthless. They make trades, they drop players. I love players that they've released. I love players that they've traded, and it's like, why do you do this? Just like we said, there's a bunch of dumb GMs in the league. Obviously, Buford's not a dumb GM, but players are subject to just dumb maneuvers and unfortunate maneuvers because they're playing for a dumb GM, and it's not their fault. They signed this contract, so all of a sudden they're bound to this one team. Like, that's just how life goes, man. Yeah. Can't blame them for being human.
It's just how life goes. That's how a lot of people have to handle it. They're just not in the spotlight like they are in the NBA. That they have a sucky job, but they have the job, and they signed up for the job.
At any point they can quit.
Yeah, he can quit.
At any point they can switch jobs. They can go to a different job while still working there, as long as they talk to their boss and approve them to go meet with other people, and then take that job before they quit, and then quit when they take the job. Same thing as getting traded to another team. Except because
you're asked for a trade. That's not the problem. I'm just saying the problem is locking them into the Lakers. That's the only problem. If you say I'd like to be traded, it'd be a feeding frenzy, and there would be a bidding war for it.
Okay, but it's not like players haven't said I'm only playing. Like Chris Webber did it. Like players have said that before in the past. They're only playing for certain franchises, and franchises take risks on them, and it sometimes works out. Sometimes it doesn't. Like he shouldn't have said definitively I'm only playing for the Lakers. They might have to enact some like wording clause in the next whatever fucking Master Basketball Player Association thing, but he should have said I'd like to play for them instead of versus I will only play for them. But I can't fault him for having free will and wanting to use it, especially with the way the NBA is now. Players have it, and if organizations didn't want players to have it, they should have never signed off on it.
They didn't necessarily sign off.
That's exactly what they did in the lockout.
Signing off on them being able to say I want to trade to this team.
No, they signed off on them. They signed off on them on all the things that they can now do in free agency, with all the different contract stipulations. That's what they signed off on. That led to this. Because if he didn't have a team option, it's different. Because he could just, or he had a player option, it's different. Because then you could trade him anywhere, and he'd have to play there for 2 years.
Yeah.
But because he has that player option, teams know he probably will just decline it.
Yeah. He will.
Yeah, he will because he's not making he's making a lot, but not as much as he's worth. Yeah. So,
anyways, that's it.
Yeah. So
got into a lot. Talked for a long time.
We got a little bit heated there. Had our
one
of our biggest debates actually.
Definitely the most heated.
Yeah, definitely the most heated. That's what we're here to do though. Bring you that heat.